Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. I am Matt Daniels, and if you are here for the first time, please make sure that you do subscribe. And if you are returning to my channel, welcome back. Welcome back. Today we're speaking about something very important. We are continuing on co-parenting, baby mama, baby daddy drama. And we're going to be speaking about when to allow our partners into interacting and having a relationship with our children. And I hope you guys are interested in this topic, and I hope that you are going to stay throughout, and because you're gonna learn a lot, as I learned a lot, because this is information that I had and information that I gathered from you guys. So the first thing that I want to speak about is I realized that most of the time when women say that they do not want the girlfriend of the guy around the child, most of the time has nothing to do with the well-being of the child and everything to do with them and what they feel inside, the jealousy and the pain that they have inside, So one thing that I want us to discuss is why and how to actually work around that. So the first thing that I want to speak about is that when you are co-parenting with a person, I feel and I learned that it's very important for you guys to have rules. It's very important for you to have rules, and those rules should apply to both parties. They should apply to the guy, and they should also apply to you as the woman. So one of the biggest problems that we have in terms of co-parenting is there are rules in this system, but then the rules only apply to one party, and which is usually the guy. The girlfriend is not allowed into the life of the child, whereas you can bring your boyfriends around the child and it's not a problem. But then whenever you see the guy or the daddy around the child, it becomes a problem. World War III, and that's where I want us to actually iron that out, and I want to fix it. That it's very important to have rules. It's not a problem if you have rules and both of you actually adhere to those rules. I feel like your co-parenting is going to be very successful, because then you're also going to be considerate towards each other's situations and towards each other's feelings. So it's have rules and make sure that they apply to both of you, and try your best to make sure that you work around those rules. So as I was along the streets of Facebook interacting with you guys, one of the women shared that her and her partner and her baby daddy actually had an agreement that they are not going to allow their partners into the child's life, unless you are living with that person or unless you are married, of which I feel like it's a very wonderful and amazing arrangement. It's a very wonderful and amazing arrangement, and it can actually stick and it can actually last if you both, are okay with it, because the reason why we are also mentioning moving in together, it's because relationships are not the same. You might be married and say only married partners are allowed into the lives of the child, but then what happens when I don't want to get married, and I've been with a person for a long time, we're committed to each other. So those are the other things that we have to consider. So one of the biggest problems is that sometimes the system does not always favor that arrangement. How? Look at me, for example. I stay by myself with my son. So if I have a man, how many times except I leave my child with my nanny, I have to go with Levi where I go, because my sisters are not around. My other is in Nosebread, the other one is in Sporo, so there's no one to watch over my child. So let's say someone comes and they want to take me out for a date. How many dates am I going to go to, where I will be able to leave Levi behind, so then that system kind of like becomes, even and as much as I would like to introduce him to the man that's going to marry me, but the situation does not favor that decision, It does not favor that. So if the situation, let's say for example, if my mother was alive or my sisters were around or I had relatives around who would watch over my child, it would not be a problem, because I would know, okay, every time I go with this person, I'm going to drop my son off where and everything is fine. But if it's not the case for you and you are like me, it becomes then a problem for us to say, okay, we're going to only introduce our partners into to our child when we're married. it becomes impossible. So another thing is that the age of the child also, you have to consider the age of the child. There are certain kids, like mine is really young, so that child won't really know what's going on. You won't know, okay, this is daddy's girlfriend, this is mommy's girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. The child won't know because they're very young. But then there's a particular age where the child is grown, and now the child's starting to ask questions, starting to see, okay, baby and this lady, daddy and this lady are too close, or mommy and this guy are too close. Why are they touching? Why are they looking at each other? Mommy, they start asking questions. That's when you have to be careful how you introduce the person. You can, in term, like you can say, okay, this person is my friend. Like if you're a guy, you can, instead of saying, okay, this is your stepmom, or this is the woman in my life, or whatever, you can say, okay, we're just friends. You can try your best to, because sometimes you can't avoid it. Let's say, for example, your girlfriend wants to come over. You can't say, okay, you can't come over because my child is here. It's not, even if you do, Mara, you can't maintain it for a very long time. It starts to become weird for me as a girlfriend. Why every time when his child is around, he does not want to see me? What's happening? When you start to suspect, okay, maybe it shows that the baby mama is there. What if these people are still together? It becomes very challenging for you to actually maintain. So those are some of the things that you have to consider. So I would also want to suggest that, as the girlfriend of the baby daddies, most of the time, try and, especially if you're not married or committed or staying with a guy, try your best to avoid doing things like posting pictures of you with the child. It's not necessary. It's just unnecessary drama. And I think that's where most of the problems come in, because now the baby dad and the baby mama are fighting because of the extra person. How did the baby mama find out? Because the person posted pictures. Why would you post pictures? It's not your child. And you're not married to the person, so you are already around the child. And there's no need for you to show the whole world, oh, me and my husband love each other, we're together. We know, but for the sake of the other party, if you know she's not going to react well to your gesture, don't cause fights within, because it's very beautiful, when you and your baby daddy are having a wonderful relationship. It's beautiful for the both of you and also for the child, And then another thing that I want to touch on is that one of the girls on my Facebook said that she does not allow her because now this girl, she's a psycho. And I'm like, okay, what happened if the guy marries the psycho? What are you going to do? So let us all be responsible. Those are things. I'm just trying to open your mind. I'm not saying that no, I'm just trying to open your mind so that you can, both of us as the daddies and the mommies, can be able to relate to each other, when it involves children, in a way that is going to be, beneficial and beautiful for the child's growth. Yes, I'm not saying this is final, but I'm just trying to open your mind. Cool, okay, here's something to consider. So yes, talk to each other. It's very important for there to be beautiful communication. Like I was saying, that it's very beautiful when the parents of the child get along very well, but be realistic about your expectations towards one another, right? And be open with your partners. Make sure that your partner understands that some of certain things, if they do them, they're going to offend the other person, and they must be conscious of that, for the well-being, for the sake of the child, for the sake of peace. Right. So those are actually some of the things that I want to highlight. So one of the ladies on my post also, she mentioned something that unless I have a relationship with the woman who my baby daddy is dating, I will not allow that person anywhere around my child. So that is, to me, it's not really realistic, right? Because my baby daddy, I do not choose for him who to marry. And I will not choose for him who he dates, So what happens when he dates someone that I don't like? Because it's very important for us to consider. He might date someone that I don't like, and we might hate each other's guts. Are you going to say, okay, I don't want that person around my child because then we won't like, because then it becomes beyond your control, in the sense that here's your baby daddy, he loves this woman, and then he loves the child. Because I feel like another thing, we sometimes have to give the baby, even though not like who, I know we're very protective around our children, but if the baby daddy has proven himself over and over again that he can be trusted around the child, and that he has nothing but the best interest of the child, and he loves this child, sometimes you have to give him the benefit of the doubt and allow him to be a parent as well, and allow his parental instincts, to play a role in how he raises the child in your absence. You can't control it, and you can't always be calling and you're texting, and just sometimes if he has proven himself that he loves the child and he is fit, and he has done everything in his power to make sure that this child, the well-being of the child, then give him a chance, even in your absence. Trust him. You know what? He's going to look after the child. He's going to make sure that the child is safe. So those are things that I feel like you need to consider. So if you are going to say, okay, I have to have a relationship with this baby mama, like that's wonderful, right? It's very wonderful. It's amazing. If you guys have a relationship, it's very wonderful. But it must also apply to you. That's a question that I ask. Okay, if you're saying you have to have a relationship, does it mean that your baby daddy must also have a relationship with your husband? Because now that's kind of like pushing it. Because I feel like, when it comes to men and baby daddies and our husbands, it's not always amazing. And, if you're going to have expectations towards a guy, then you must also be able to meet those expectations. Right. So before you actually impose certain rules towards your baby daddy, make sure that those rules apply and are realistic. Right, yes. So if ever, like I did mention that if you're the baby daddy and you realize, your girlfriend is in the car, or something happened, you had to rush and pick up your girlfriend and stuff like that, you can introduce the girlfriend as friend. And if your child does see that you guys are dating and you want to protect the child, make sure that you don't post and the baby mama does not find out, because now you're not doing a bad thing. It's just a person who happened to be there, and the person that you love. Nothing is for sure. You can be married to someone for a year. You can be married to someone for 2 years. You can be married for 10 years. You can date someone for 1 year. You can date someone for 25 years. So nothing is predictable. As long as, you both show yourselves that you are fit and you have nothing but the best interest of the child. So I feel like that is something that you really need to consider. So let's work together, and always remember that it's not about us, because my biggest concern or my biggest worry has always been the fact that I feel most of the time, baby mamas don't consider the daddies, and it's from a selfish place. You hate the girlfriend, therefore you don't want her around your child. Just pisses you off because you hate her. It has nothing to do with whether it's good for the child or it's bad for the child. So there are good baby daddies out there. Give them a chance. And those bad baby daddies, that's where you need to be cautious, because out there. So be careful of also that. Be careful, so protect your child, and most importantly, pray for your child. Pray for your child, because even if he marries this woman who happens to be a witch, or you whatever, there's nothing you can do about it except for prayer. Pray that God protects your child against whatever that woman may try and do against your child. So those are some of the things that I wanted us to talk about today. That women, let us not be selfish. If we're going to set rules, let those rules apply to both of us. If you do not put the other person in a place of permanent disability by putting rules for them that they cannot meet. So let's if it's gonna hurt the other person's feelings, let's not do it. For the sake of a good and wonderful relationship for the both of us. So thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to comment and share your views. Until we meet again next time, goodbye.